is a news show. Sup, nation? Welcome to the Monday show. My name, of course, Philip DeFranco, and this show is really just me talking about news and tab stuff and things that mattered to me today. And just a quickie update before we jump into everything. This past Saturday, I did the first official, unofficial Saturday show. I announced who got pelted in the face from last week's shows. I talked about your comments. I replied to them, blah, 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 things and stuff. If you haven't checked it out yet after this video, check it out. But let's jump into today's first story. Hey guys, the first thing I want to talk about today, you might have seen headlines, Will Smith bitch slaps reporter. Will Smith homophobic. Well, this all came from the Men in Black 3 premiere in Moscow. Will Smith's going down the red carpet, he's taking pictures, talking to reporters, and then this happens.
Oh my God, there you go. Hey, come on, man, what the hell is your problem, buddy?
Like a boss. That's what happens when you mess with Big Willie. I do have to say this whole story has been sensationalized since it happened a few days ago. One, that is barely a slap. It was a love tap at most and everyone being like, oh, Will Smith's homophobic. No! It starts off like he's European, oh, I kiss your cheek, I kiss your cheek. And then he just goes for the lips. Which you could argue, oh, well, the people that live in this country do this. Well, no, it actually turns out that this reporter's shtick is to surprise French kiss celebrities and then just film how they react. Will Smith was just defending himself from second-degree mouth rape. And I gotta say, how can you be surprised? That's classic Big Willie style. This is not the Wild Wild West. You are not the Men in Black. A lot of people don't know this. Will Smith, West Philadelphia, born and raised. Then, one little gunfight, his mom got scared, and that's how he became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Duh. And here comes this reporter wanting his 7 pounds, and it's not homophobic to resist and then slap someone that was trying to force themselves on you. And you could argue the slap was too much, but it's instinctual. I probably would have done the same thing, and I love the gays. And if you do think Will Smith is in the wrong, the comments down below are a thing, so let me know why you think differently. Because while I do believe celebrities in some sense are public property, that kind of goes with the job. Once you start forcing yourself and touching those people, you cross a line that I don't believe can be defended, and whatever happens to you happens to you. Hey guys, let's move on to today's douchebag of the day. And today, they are two currently unnamed parents who are having a little fun with their child at the laundromat, jokingly putting them in the washing machine like, I'm gonna close it. And then they closed it, and they'd already put money in the machine, and they were currently unaware of the auto lock, auto turn on feature once you do that, which then resulted in this security cam footage. So for the longest minute in the world, the child is just thrashing around in this machine. They managed to find someone that actually works the place, which is amazing, because most of these places are usually unmanned. I know all the local ones around here, you just have a phone and then you're like, hey, the machine's broken. He's like, cool, I'll see you in 7 hours. And you see the parent just run away with the child like, are you okay? So the good news of the situation, the baby's okay. The bad news, it still has the same parents. And looking through a lot of internet comments, I saw a lot of parents defending these parents like, you don't know, you're just messing around, it was an accident. And I say, okay, I am not a parent, but at what point do you think, hey, I want to terrify my baby? That was the super bad parenting move that started this whole thing. Your baby taking a tumble on the super late term abortion express is a whole different one. But I guess the main point of this whole story is, did you know you could upload security cam footage of a baby almost dying and getting money off of 1.7 million views? YouTube. You gotta love that. And guys, from there, I want to talk about something that's super awesome in tech right now, and it's kind of related to the Kinect. If you've seen my old videos when I went to like CES, E3, even the early stuff, I always thought Kinect was kind of a good jumping off point. And that's because I believe in the future, 90% of the way we interact with computers, objects in general, will be gestures and voice. The Kinect is kind of okay with voice right now, but the gestures are just really clunky. Regardless of how much I want to wield a lightsaber with a Kinect and just wreck stuff in a video game, I know that it will not be good. But then comes out this thing called Leap, which is 200 times more accurate than anything else on the market. I just saw this video today. The tech is available for pre-order, but it looks amazing. And if you're a Windows 7 user, you think you're gonna go to Windows 8, you're a Mac user, do not worry, it will work for you. The creators of Leap saying that it is the size of a flash drive, it goes in front of your computer, it can distinguish your individual fingers and track your movements down to 1/100th of a millimeter. And if you think about it, it's kind of amazing that the way we interact with computers could be completely changed by something that has a $70 price tag. I mean, if you saw my CES coverage, you know how much I loved that Lenovo that was a laptop, you could touch the screen, it flipped into a tablet. That was amazing, but I really don't like the current set of PCs out there where you can touch the screen. You get smudges on your desktop screen, you keep the screen a little closer than maybe you should. This fixes all that. Because while I don't believe the future is me typing on an invisible air keyboard, I do believe it's open Firefox, Google, okay, search blah 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 blah, and then I'm like swiping at the screen. The only thing I don't agree with right now is saying that it will revolutionize the way we play video games. Some games. But until you figure out how I can walk around and shoot stuff with my imaginary air pistols without being being a rail shooter. 17 of you understand what I'm saying right now. I don't see that as the future, but as far as everything else, yes. And from there, let's talk about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, because a lot has happened since the last time we talked about them on Thursday. One, Facebook went public on Friday, and other than the NASDAQ kind of dropping the ball here and like having to delay the IPO, it went pretty well. It opened at $38 and it closed at $38.23. The main thing that happened here is a lot of people who already had a lot of money made even more money. Just to kind of give you a scale of the money we're talking about, Bono is part of an equity group, and that equity group made $1.5 billion Friday, reportedly. Then over the weekend, I imagine Zuckerberg was like, I already made one big thing in my life public, let me make another, and he announced that he got married. Reportedly, Zuckerberg invited about 100 of their closest friends under the ruse that it was a surprise graduation party for Chan being his girlfriend for the past 9 years, but it turned out it was a surprise for them because it was a wedding. They had the ceremony in the backyard, and he designed her ring, which involves a ruby, and boy, oh boy, did everyone have an opinion. Only the internet could make me feel bad for Mark Zuckerberg. Because yeah, there were people that were happy for them, but oh my god, the random criticism. Here are some of my favorites. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg married an Asian. Yep, that makes perfect sense. Okay, that's not too racist. It's more a conversation about how San Francisco men date Asian girls. It's pretty true in the tech field. Then, I thought it was Eduardo who was dating the Asian chick. That one's just stupid. Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook, billionaire. He just married an Asian. Bro, you could buy like the hottest girl in the world. WTF, hashtag America. Side note, Matt and other guys that do this, if you are a guy and you're in a picture with two girls and you use that picture as your avatar, unless you're like a photographer, 98% of the time that means you suck as a person. Super duper side note, that picture should always be just you, because the thing that bothers me most about girls on any social network is when they respond to me, I'm like, is it that one or is it the ugly one? Is it that one or that one? I don't know. And I don't want to have to friend you to figure it out. Then, Mark Zuckerberg married an Asian girl. Perv. I don't even know what that means. Then, of course, a lot of people were surprised because they thought Zuckerberg was gay, which I guess I could see. And of course, let's end it on racism. I bet Zuckerberg has the most airtight prenup ever. That Asian girl will get nothing but fortune cookies when they divorce in 4 years. And from there, let's talk about sexy time news. Maxim released their top 100 hottest ladies in the world as voted on by their readers. We'll skip straight to the top 5, that being Olivia Wilde, Katy Perry, Mila Kunis, Olivia Munn, and taking the crown is Bailey, otherwise known as the super hot model that dated Leo DiCaprio for a while. And something that I thought was very awesome is that the number 57 slot was Lee Newton, our very own Lee Newton. Source-fed zone, and generally just a very funny lady. And I was kind of happy and annoyed because 57 is great. It's all thanks to those of you that watch this show and Source-fed. And so I'm happy because we did something, but I'm annoyed because there is not a doubt in my mind that if Maxim had semi-decent servers that did not crash every time we were like, hey, do you want to vote for Lee? That she would have been number 1, if not at least better than Olivia Munn. But I guess the main point is, thank you, nation, to those of you that chipped in the votes and showed that being smart and funny is sexy too. And guys, the last thing I want to talk about today was one of the most requested things to talk about, and that was the Trayvon Martin George Zimmerman updates. And so how I'm going to feed this specific news to you is tell you what the news said, and then give you the meat of the truth. So the first thing, ABC News tweeted, Trayvon Martin had drugs in his system, autopsy found. Then of course you have interview with former co-worker of Zimmerman says he's a racist bully. And then finally you have the full Zimmerman medical report after the night of the incident. Zimmerman suffered 2 black eyes, a fractured nose, 2 lacerations on his head, and a minor back injury. And so everyone started talking again, and in my opinion, it's a lot of big news that amounts to nothing. So 1, Trayvon Martin has drugs in his system. To that, I kind of have to hate on ABC, but at the same time, I understand that that title is way more interesting than Trayvon Martin smoked marijuana weeks before he was killed. Because the drug they found was THC, which is of course in marijuana, and as Time magazine reported, the levels of THC in Martin's blood are so low as to almost certainly not be connected to recent intoxication. So while ABC, that made a great headline, the bulk of the story actually goes against Zimmerman's claims that the kid was on drugs or something. And then on the other side, you have people saying, oh, well, the interview proves he's a racist bully. And I will say the interview is not flattering to Zimmerman. If you want to listen to the whole thing, link down below. According to the witness, Zimmerman targeted him because he was Middle Eastern. He repeatedly called him a fucking moron and mocked him using the voice of Ahmed the terrorist. Zimmerman's stories about the man would involve bombing, I'll kill your family, and other jokes about Middle Eastern stuff. And so there are 2 ways to look at this information. 1, he's not racist to black people, just Middle Eastern people. Those are 2 completely different groups. But on the other hand, it could be argued that this behavior is a pattern. That hate is hate, and he would just aim it at anything that's different. And this could go a long way in pushing the hate crime charges, but there's gonna have to be like an email correspondence or recorded audio. Otherwise, it's kind of just hearsay. And then, of course, that final bit of news, Zimmerman had 2 black eyes, like a broken nose, cuts. So yes, it's possible that Trayvon Martin hurt George Zimmerman, but what does that change? Like we've said all those videos ago, George Zimmerman went out there with a gun. An unarmed kid was being followed by a guy with a gun. If a confrontation did happen, it's George Zimmerman's fault. He's the one that pushed the situation to that boiling point. Whatever happened afterwards, happened afterwards. All that being said, I think it's gonna be very hard for the state of Florida to prove that this is second-degree murder. Manslaughter, you got him, it's done, but second-degree murder, they're really gonna have to find a way to prove that this guy is a huge racist. And guys, remember, these videos are more than a news show. It's the start of a conversation. So that brings us to the question of the day today. Do these new reports, any of this new evidence, does it change how you feel about this situation? Should he be punished? What should that punishment be? Should he go free? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But guys, that is the show, and it does bring us to the part of the show where I throw something at your face, and today it is $50 worth of stuff from forhumanpeoples.com or my last copy of Diablo 3. Of course, to possibly get pelted in the face with either thing, you just gotta leave a comment on this video. And of course, a big thanks to those of you that clickety-clack the like button, favorite when you really like it, share these videos on Twitter or Facebook. But whether you did or not doesn't change the fact that my name is Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.